This is Calabucas with Think Future. You know, recently I've been fascinated with something I like to call disconnects. And what I like to call disconnects are disconnections between what we're told about something and what the reality about something is. And I came to this realization as I was doing a class in leadership and power through Stanford. And it was very eye-opening and refreshing because this professor had written a book and had talked about the realities of leadership, what it really is like to be a leader. And in reading this book, I thought to myself, yes, this book is actually an accurate portrayal of leadership. It's an accurate portrayal of leadership. And it stunned me because this portrayal of leadership, this portrayal of leadership that's in this book is exactly how I expect leaders to be based on the experiences that I've had throughout my life with leaders. When I've been a leader, when I've been with leaders, when I've had a leader, this is how they act. And it was eye-opening to me because this book was actually true to life. There was no disconnect between what this book was saying and real life, right? And in only few cases, I have found that the depiction of this is the same as the reality of this. I'll give you another example. There's a book called Horse Sense. It's a very hard to find book. It's by Ries and Trout, who I think wrote the Immutable Laws Marketing or some famous marketing book. But they also wrote another book called Horse Sense. And it was, again, another book that sort of eliminated the disconnects between sort of reality and what you hear about things. And basically what it was is that if you want to be successful, you have to tie yourself to some other thing. And within this, and they called it a horse, so you have to tie to yourself to a specific horse. And in this book, they talked about the different things that you could tie yourself to and the chances that you're going to be successful based on what you're tying yourself to, right? And they ordered the book by the chances of being successful at something, and so they put that order of the horses based on the chances of being successful. And they put the corporation and the product near the end of the book. What they put at the front of the book were things like being born to a wealthy family or marrying into a wealthy family. And as I was reading this book, I'm thinking to myself, yes, this is reality. Because when you look around you, you see all sorts of success literature, right? You see all sorts of books that talk about this is leadership, this is leadership, this is leadership. But then you experience leadership and you go, wow, there's a huge disconnect between what this book is saying about leadership and what leadership is really like. And then the horse sense is the same. It's like, this is what success is, and this is what it really takes to become successful. Because there's so much success literature out there that says, all you got to do is work hard and have a good idea and blah, blah, blah. And this one says, hey, marry somebody who's rich. Don't you think that's easier? It's easier to get successful when you marry someone who's rich? See, I find this intensely interesting that there are situations where you can read about something and there is a book which portrays that reality. But the problem is that these books that portray the reality, they don't seem to be as popular as the other books which don't portray the reality, but to come up with some amazing sort of utopian version of the reality, right? Because if you think about the thousands of leadership books, all say, you know, leaders eat last, or leaders do this, or leaders should be servants, or leaders do all these things. But then when you look at this stack of books, you compare it against reality, you go, oh my God, this is nothing like reality. This is nothing like reality. And it's the same for all these other books. So there's this disconnect. And here, let me give you another example. Startups, right? Everybody hears, all you hear about in the media is, oh, this startup billionaire, this 27-year-old startup billionaire, oh, the richest billionaire, blah, 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 billionaire. You know, all these startup founders are suddenly billionaires and amazing. But the reality is that, 90% of startups fail. You don't hear about the 90% of startups who fail. You only hear about the 10% of startups that succeed. You only hear about the 17-year-old billionaire who sold his piece of software to Yahoo for $1 billion. You hear about them, but you don't hear about the reality. So I'm fascinated with these disconnects between reality and this portrayal of reality, and the fact that whenever you get an accurate portrayal of reality, these accurate portrayals never seem to go anywhere. It's almost like human beings enjoy fooling themselves into thinking that the reality is nowhere near what their dreams are like. So if you think about it, is there something here? Is there something we can do in this space? Or should we just continue to create volumes and volumes and volumes that are completely disconnected from reality? Maybe the disconnection from reality is what human beings really want. Maybe human beings really want the dream and not the reality.